Hello and welcome to the Improv Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Dayna Gowan, and I'm so excited that you're joining today. Today, we have a very special guest on to talk all about public speaking and improv, aka Improv Speaking. And I'm so excited to just nerd out about Improv Speaking today. We're going to have so much fun. If you're new, joining for the first time, the goals of this podcast stay the same, and here they are. 1, to help you understand the benefits of improvisation and applied improvisation. 2, to demonstrate how improv shows up in all aspects of our lives. And 3, to inspire you to try new things, get out of your head and judgment zone, and find creative outlets and passions that can help you and light you up. And today's guest is just going to light us all up because he's so much fun. And I just can't wait to jump in. So let me tell you all about our amazing guest, Jordan Hirsch. Jordan is based in Hyde Park, New York. Jordan is a longtime speaker, consultant, and improviser who is on a mission to help good people take up more space in this world. Move out of the way, bad people. We want good people taking up space in this world. Jordan was voted an audience favorite at South by Southwest, which he has spoken at not once, not twice, but 5 times over the years, which is incredible, by the way. He is also a credentialed leadership and speaking coach, a playful team development facilitator, and an enthusiastic creative collaborator. He uses the power of improv to help leaders and teams communicate, collaborate, and connect. One of his missions, besides helping people, good people, to take up space in this world, another mission is to put an end to boring, painful presentations. Thank goodness, because we have had it with boring presentations. Jordan is the founder of Fish Tree, which offers training, coaching, presentation support, leadership development, and team building. Fish Tree makes it fun, safe, and possible to do hard things at work. He started Fish Tree in 2022 because he wanted to live in a world where fear doesn't hold good people back. Again, all the bad people don't have fear holding them back, but the good people do. So we need these good people to take up space and not have any fear about it. And I know it sounds like I'm making light. I love all of this, Jordan, I promise. Jordan is also the co-founder of the Improv Mindset, a training and development company that offers improv-based professional development to help leaders and their teams communicate, collaborate, and create together. Fun fact that I learned about Jordan: he is known in some circles for his brown butter bourbon chocolate chip cookies and his Guinness chocolate cake. Now, we are recording this virtually, and I'm so sad that I didn't get to have any, but hopefully at some point I can taste this because it sounds phenomenal. Please welcome the joyful and jovial, the jokester, Jordan Hirsch. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you so much, Dayna. Dayna, I know it's a lot to ask, but I would love if you could please introduce me anytime I walk into a room, because that introduction was amazing. I feel so pumped up right now.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that. I love hyping people up. And I feel like that's the reaction a lot is like, who's that? Like, they sound amazing. And it's like, that's you. That is you. You are amazing. You do all those cool things. And I really love that you're helping good people, right? Because the bad people have had their place in the world. And, you know, the bad people, I assume in like corporate, right? Like the bad people who are just like not doing the leadership training and just doing all the talking and no listening, they've had their time. It is time for good people to get the help they need and take up the space. I love that.
Thank you. I think that right now, bad people are taking up so much space. They're taking up so much space out there. And bad people are, and you know, good, bad, value judgments. Sure, I'm not going to name names. You make your own decisions about who I mean. But
exactly.
The problem sort of gets compounded because the worst among us often have no fear, no self-confidence, doubts. They don't hesitate to get up there They get up there, they take up the stage, they take up the space, they talk and talk and talk, and they never wonder, should I be here? Do I deserve this? Whereas, the good people are hiding in the corner like, oh, I have so much to say, but I don't know if I can really do it. I don't know if I feel okay speaking up right now. Like, does my voice deserve to be heard? So I just want to say, yes, it does. Your voice does deserve to be heard.
Yes, it does. Yes, and it does. And I love that. So I love that you clarify the good people. Yes. Also, for our listeners, Jordan is wearing a yes and shirt too, which is amazing. By the way, I love that. Did you specifically make that for your company, or did you have that?
Oh, I wish I had. I bought it. I got it from someone else's company. Their logo is on the sleeve, which I think was a mistake on their part because I wear this shirt a lot. But yeah, I'm a big improv dork. Like so many of it. I think if you're an improviser, you have to be a dork about it. That's kind of just the law. And when I saw this shirt, I had to get it. And now I wear it. Someone's, ooh, yes, and interesting shirt, cool shirt. So, it's a great signal. It's like a bat signal to the other improv people out there. They see it and they're like, hey, I know you're one of us.
And if they're not an improviser, it's a great conversation starter. Like, ooh,
absolutely.
Yes, and.
Oh, yes, and.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jordan, I mentioned your company, Fish Tree. And I know on your website, you explain why it's named that. But in case people haven't gone there yet, it is such an interesting name. How did you come up with that name, Fish Tree?
First of all, you think there's people out there who haven't memorized my website? Oh my gosh.
Not yet. Not yet. Yet is the key word.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you for asking. So there's this quote that gets attributed to Albert Einstein, even though when I looked into it more, pretty sure he never said it. I don't actually know who said it, but the quote is that everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing that it is stupid. And I think when we try something new, we can often feel like fish trying to climb a tree. When I started a business, I felt like a fish trying to climb a tree. I mean, I still do. I don't wake up every day feeling like I know exactly what I'm doing and what to do next. And I think a lot of us don't. And I realized a lot of the people that I was supporting with coaching work and with training work, they are brilliant people who end up they feel like they're less than they really are. They don't feel capable. They don't feel confident because they're trying something new and they're not used to stumbling. Right? The problem actually, I think often is that high achievers that I work with, they're not used to making mistakes. They're used to things maybe coming a little more easily to them and getting praise for that sort of thing. And then they go out and they start a business or they decide they want to become a speaker. They want to try something new and different, maybe do a career pivot, some sort of big change. And that's when that self-confidence just starts to quickly sort of drain out of them in large part because they feel like fish, right? They're like, I'm so good at swimming in the water. Why is it so hard for me to get to the first branch of this tree? So that really resonated with me as someone going through a big change and a big pivot. So I wanted it to resonate for people I work with as well.
I love that. And it sounds like the bad people, again, just categorizing those bad people, attributed that to Einstein when someone else said it and didn't get the credit for it. The good person who said it didn't get the credit for it.
Exactly.
Shame.
I know. Oh, well.
That also makes me think, we were kind of chatting before we hit the record button, and I was sharing how, I left my corporate job in California when I moved 3 months ago. So I've now gone full time in my business. And just, I think speaking from my experience in that, I was good at my job. Like, I definitely was a fish that could swim in the water in my job, I guess. Like, I could handle my own whatever, but it never fully aligned and lit me up. And I know that's a little different from, I guess, the fish climbing the tree, but sometimes it can also feel like you're like smacking your head against the tree too, when you're just like going through the motions and like doing something that just doesn't align. And so, yes, you might feel like a fish climbing a tree sometimes, but if you're doing this work that lights you up and aligns with your purpose and your vision, then it just feels so much better.
For me,
there.
100%. I'm like, I relate to that so hard. And for me, it's that the pain of trying to climb a tree as a fish is worth it, because there's also, I mean, first of all, the views from the top of a tree are so different and so unparalleled. And just the joy of doing my own thing has made all the challenges worth it, at least up until now. And I expect that to continue, because it is hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to run your own thing, especially for those of us like me. I spent my entire career, 20 plus years in corporate environments, always thinking, well, I could never be someone who started my own business. I have no idea how to do that. I'm just not built for it. I don't know how to do sales. I can't do this. I can't. It was a lot of I can't. I better just stay in this job, forever, as long as they'll have me, even though increasingly it no longer felt like it fit. And eventually that pain became a little too big to ignore. And actually that's when I worked with a coach, and she was like, well, you don't have to just do that. What do you mean?
What? Wait, there are other options?
I could do something different with my life, something that I enjoy. I'm not looking at that. I don't know if that doesn't sound right.
Like, I have the choice to do that? No, that's crazy.
That lack of alignment. I think for years I just assumed, well, that's what they pay you for, right? They pay you to cover that gap. And eventually, for some of us, it's just not worth it. Like, the gap becomes too big and it's not worth it anymore.
Feeling all of this. And Jordan, you kind of got into it, right? Like 20 years in corporate. So tell us more about your journey. You're an improviser, speaker, public speaking coach, leadership coach, owner of a fish climbing tree business, right? When did you start improvising, and how did it lead you to starting Fish Tree? And you add in that, that painful, like the gap that's missing piece too, right?
So when did I start improvising? I started improvising in probably 2004, 2005.
Nice.
My wife and I were living in Washington, D.C. at the time, and I had always wanted to try stand-up. I was always, making jokes. I'm a jokester by nature, love making people laugh. I love laughing myself. And so always wanted to try stand-up and couldn't ever quite work up the courage to do it. So my wife, Amanda, she comes home one day with a flyer. She'd been at the video store. For your younger audience members, that's like streaming, but you go to a physical location. You have to take something home with you.
Video store? What? I know. We have to explain that, right?
She comes home from the video store with this flyer for something called Washington Improv Theater. Shout out to WIT, my home theater. And she said, I don't know exactly what this is, but maybe this could be like an entree to you finally getting to try stand-up. I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So I signed up for, Improv 101 class. And that night after my first class, I came home and I said, you got to try this too. You are going to love this. She goes, oh, well, I don't think of myself as, being funny in that way. I was like, oh, no. It's not about that at all. It's not about being funny. It's about listening and being supported and trying things and taking creative risks, all the things. So she eventually took a class too, went through this whole program with WIT. They were starting up some house teams. We got into cast together in a house team together, and I started performing regularly. And honestly, what that really meant was I started failing on stage in front of people regularly. And that has made all of the difference for me. What I found over time is that anything at work that was new, that maybe in the past I would have felt like, oh, this is so scary. I don't know if I can take this on. They will, new responsibilities. There's this new project. I can't do it. I could still have all those feelings and then just do it anyway. Because in the end, it's not going to be worse than when you've done, the worst show of your improv career. And that's the night that your friends and family have come. And, after, I don't know if you've ever done a bad show, Dayna, but how after one of those shows,
all of them,
the look people give you when they're like, oh, so that's your improv. Hey, good for you guys.
That's what you've been working on these past 5 months. Yeah. Okay. And they're only 5 people in the audience too, right?
Those are the ones where people have no problem believing that you did make it up. So really it made it let me kind of access this confidence. I mean, as a tall white man, I was supposed to have a bunch of confidence anyway, but I didn't actually. I was not, naturally confident, I think, in the way that some people are. And improv helped me find that, because once you've done the worst show of your life and you wake up the next morning and the world is still spinning and the sun comes up and your friends haven't completely disavowed you, you start to build some resilience, and that really helped me start on. Yeah, it helped me just start to feel much more comfortable in a variety of environments, and to be willing to try some things, like halfway through my career, getting out of being a programmer and a technical engineer and getting into consulting instead, and feeling somewhat maybe not, all the confidence, but enough to actually do it, right? Enough to know, like, well, look, if you make a move and it doesn't work out, you get to make another move. That's something I think that improv teaches us so beautifully. It's like, you're not trapped with this one thing forever. You get to make another choice and another choice and another choice.
Mm-hmm. New choice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to overestimate, I think, the impact that improv had on my life.
And sometimes I dim that light because I don't want to be dramatic and exaggerate all the benefits. But it really, you know what? I'm going to be so dramatic here. It has changed my life. It really has. I mean, 100%, just learning yes and the power of it, and realizing that you do have a choice over your life and the choices that you make. It's so powerful. And I mean, every guest that I have on says it in some way, shape, or another, like how powerful yes and is. And I think, it is becoming kind of, I don't even know if it's a mainstream term, but most people have heard of yes and at this point, right? And so they're like, oh, okay, yes and, whose line is it anyway? They kind of get what it means. But once you experience what it means, there's no going back after that. It's so life-changing. So all the drama here, it clearly has changed both of our lives, and we are not sugarcoating that.
We're not going to help improv beat the allegations of being a cult that rewires your brain, but that's okay. I'm in the cult. My brain has been rewired. I love it. I want to help rewire everyone else's brain. If people really, because most people don't get yes and, right? They might get, there's sort of the misunderstood version. They might get, well, someone says yes to me a lot. Or maybe I say yes a lot, like I'm yes-anding. Well, that's not actually it. Like, someone just agreeing with you is not yes and. Someone really seeing you and validating your need, even if they don't agree with you, once you start experiencing that, I mean, that is a powerful drug. It's hard to give that up. And it goes to, every aspect of my life. I mean, parenting, my marriage, friendships. Becoming a yes-ander makes you someone that other people like to be around. And I heard one of our first improv teachers in New York, Ari Voukidis, told us this, which has now also become true in our marriage, which is that look, my wife's an improviser too. And sometimes at home, yes and will come up, right? If we're arguing about something, Betsy will say to me like, hey, you're not yes-anding me right now. And I'm like, oh my God, we do that at home too. That's not powerful.
Yeah, I took an online class with Betsy. So I was like, oh wait, I know Betsy. And I never took a class with Ari teaching, but yeah, I always loved that they were like husband-wife improv duo. And I love that you and your wife did classes together too. Okay, so I got to ask, because my husband and I did classes starting out, and we were on a little team. We did like little practices, and I always struggled to do scenes with him. Like if he jumped into a scene, I would usually hang back because I don't know. For some reason I couldn't suspend disbelief a lot of times, and I'd be like, why did he say that? Or I don't know.
That's interesting.
I know, right? And it was weird. And I mean, it wasn't all the time. Like sometimes we would have good scenes, but I don't know. And also I wanted the chance to play with other people too, and same for him. So if he was in a scene, I would let someone else jump in because I see him all the time, right? So, but how was it for you? Did you all have good scenes together?
It's funny. I know a lot of improv couples. I think it's different, of course, for all of us. We did have some great scenes together over the years. because when we were in that group environment, I think we often would do decent scenes together, in part because we knew how to read each other's moves so deep. Like we could communicate a lot without saying anything, which made it easy in some ways. But there was also always a part of me that was like, well, let her do scenes with people who aren't me, because we get to do scenes, we can do scenes at home. All right, let's play with some other people. But eventually, so after we left DC, that was when we were on a team together and we got to New York, we weren't improvising together anymore. And so we eventually ended up creating a show called Till Death, which we didn't learn until years later was also the name of a show that one of our improv couple friends had also been doing. But so we called the show Till Death, and it was a show about how far can we heighten being the most boring old married couple you've ever met. And some of those shows, some of the funniest stuff we ever did was in those shows, because it was coming from a very real place and just cranking it all the way up as high as we could.
That's awesome. I love that. I bet those were very funny shows.
So fun. We had a friend who came to one of them where it was a show where we were like arguing over something the entire show. And at the end, he goes, I don't know, man. I'm like seeing you guys fight. I was like, it's not us. No one, it's characters. It was a fun.
Well, you really sold it there. Yeah, right? Exactly. Good acting. Mm-hmm. Well, and tell me about your musical improv experience, or is it more musical and do you like improv, or have you done musical improv together?
Amanda and I have never done musical improv together, but back when I was early days of my musical improv journey, I think we went to the Del Close Marathon in New York.
Nice.
And I went to a show. There was this group from Chicago called Baby Wants Candy. They were doing a set of musical improv. And I was looking at the schedule. I was like, musical improv? What the hell is that? So I go and I see this show. And not only is it amazing and mind-blowing and so much fun, but the whole time I had these two thoughts running through my mind. One was, you're allowed to do this? And then the other one was, I want to do this too. How do I do this? Because I'd always made up songs. Just like walking around the house, I would just be singing to myself, making up songs. I can never remember lyrics to things, so I would always make up my own lyrics. I'd been in a couple bands at this point. And so a couple years later, a guy named Travis Plager, who I believe also came out of Chicago, he used to work with I Eat Pandas, which was a big musical improv duo. Eliza Skinner.
Great name. Great name.
Anyway, so Travis came to DC, and working with Wit, he was going to start a musical improv program. And because none of us in that scene really knew how to do it, he was like, okay, I'm going to cast the show. And then we're going to spend the first several months with him just teaching us, these are formats of songs. This is how this works. So he was, auditioning for sort of, can you improvise? Do you have some singing ability, etc.? And then really put the time in to train us into a solid group. And so I was in this group, iMusical, for years, doing shows in DC and getting great audiences. I had no idea when I moved to New York that I was never going to see a crowd like a DC crowd again.
Oh, no.
Because in New York, there's, 10,000 improv teams and a bunch of other stuff to do all the time. But being in that group, it opened up this whole new world of improvising to me, where I didn't know that I could come up with a rhyme in the moment that fast on stage, working with an accompanist. Who knows what they're doing. Like, it is it feels like jumping into a pool and someone just catches you, like it is just
so true
feeling. So I did that for years. And one of my friends, Karen Lang, who was in that group with me, we eventually formed a 2-person entirely sung musical improv duo called Vox Pop. And we would go and do shows at festivals with our accompanist, Jamie Hazen, who's just one of the best to ever do it. And then eventually, sorry, I had this long answer, but I've done a lot of musical improv. Eventually,
I love it. Keep going.
When we moved to New York, I started doing musical improv with the Magnet Theater. I was in a group called Legend for many years, and our accompanist there, he recently passed away, is this guy, Frank Spitznagel, who was so good. And I believe he had played on Broadway with Broadway orchestras.
Oh, wow.
So in each context that I got to do it, I would learn so much more about song craft, musical craft. For that group, sometimes we would get instructed, okay, go home and watch, this Rodgers and Hammerstein musical or Kander and Ebbs or something else, because we would do shows and Frank afterwards would say, you guys think you've just invented this new way of doing a song, but you're doing something from the 40s. You're just not familiar with it. Oh, really? Create this new structure? All right. Interesting. So I learned a ton. I started teaching musical improv. I started coaching musical improv. So again, long answer, but musical improv, if you can't tell, I felt much more comfortable. I've always felt stronger as a musical improviser than as a straight improviser, because with musical improv, if you run out of things to say, just start singing.
Mm-hmm. And I think the audience gives you a little benefit of the doubt, because like we're all sitting there going, I could never do that. I could never do that. Right.
Right. Which is what people think about straight improv, but you could. Anyway, sorry, Dayna, go ahead.
No. The music makes it fun. Like even the worst musical improv show is like heads and tails better than the worst just regular improv show, because at least there was like fun music involved.
Right. Exactly. And it's also one more person who can kind of edit a scene if the scene isn't going, or the accompanist can start to kind of gently drive you into a moment. You hear, oh, the piano's picking up. Let me double down on this emotion right now. And maybe even just take 3 minutes and explore the emotion through a song instead of continuing dialogue or trying to move the plot forward. Mm-hmm. So powerful stuff.
I have dipped my toe into musical improv. I did a class, and that class led to a team starting, and I was on that team for about a year, and they're still going. I had my baby, and I performed musical improv, I think, till I was about 7 months pregnant, I think, which was very fun. And also, my one rule was like, don't cast me as a pregnant lady. Like, let me play something else. And I think my team actually did well with that. Although you could argue I shouldn't put rules on that, but that was my one rule.
Well, there. You can play a pregnant lady at home.
Exactly.
We come to improv to get to be something else.
Yeah. It was very fun though. And I like to think I could feel my daughter like kicking when I would go to practices and the piano was playing. Like I could feel like kicks in my stomach and stuff, like her getting excited. And I could be making all that up, but it was what I liked to think. So my daughter got to be a part of the crew too, and she didn't know it yet.
That's awesome. I love that. Did you like doing musical improv?
I loved it. It scared the bejesus out of me every time. And I'm not a singer. I'm not trained. But I will say it really helped my voice too. And it helped me like have the confidence to sing. So now it kind of unleashed a monster, I'll say. Like if there's karaoke going on, I will sing karaoke now. And I will sing in the car. And I have my whole like sing your heart out playlist. Like I'm not afraid to sing. I know it's not like the best, most angelic voice you've ever heard. And also it's mine. Like it's not the worst. It's just not the best. But it doesn't have to be in musical improv. What my teachers always said was, yes, it helps to have some singing ability, but they would rather a good improviser that's like willing to go all out, try new things over someone who has this most amazing voice.
Yes.
Right. So yeah.
One of the guys on my first musical improv team in DC, one of the best improvisers I've ever gotten to play with. I would say, I don't think he would disagree if I said he couldn't really sing a note, but it didn't matter. No one cared because he was doing such a good job at everything else. He just happened to be doing it in song.
I love that. And you shared a fun fact with me that I have to share with everyone else too. Okay, so you once won an improv competition with an entirely improvised show that was just you and the accompanist. Mm-hmm. And you ended up playing 2 pairs of identical twins who got married to each other. Okay, so how did that happen? Were you meant to just be on your own?
So I was in New York City at the time. I think I'd recently had a baby and I was sort of in a fog. And sometimes when I'm like feeling in a fog, what I end up doing is saying yes to everything. Instead of what I should do is like, let me prioritize my time and my energy. Anything comes in, I'm like, yeah, I'll try that. Maybe that'll be the thing, make me feel like I know what's going on. And so my accompanist from the musical duo, Jamie, he reached out and he said, hey, there's this thing on the Lower East Side in this, tiny little black box theater. you want to see if like you and Karen, if Karen wants to come into town and we'll do the show. Karen lived in DC. She couldn't make it that night for whatever reason. So I was like, well, I guess I could just do it. That sounds like fun. And he was, okay, you sure? I was like, no, but let's see what happens. So I get down there, the music starts, and I had not intended, I didn't know what the show was going to be about. Of course, it's improv.
Right.
Maybe twins was like the suggestion from the audience or something. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what would really, and this is all, in the moment as I'm singing my first song, what's going to really be like different from anything else people have seen here? Well, not only will I sing it all and it'll just be me, I'm going to do twins, and I'll do another set of twins too, because I can't think of anything else to do. So by the last number, I'm jumping between, 4 different characters. There's like a confusion of who's marrying who. I have no idea if the plot made any sense. Honestly,
doesn't need to.
No, and I'm like winning this thing. I think it was more they were just like, you got through 25 minutes of that. Good job. It's probably not the best show we've ever seen, but like you did it and you're still standing.
Bravo.
Like, yeah, thank you. What else about it? Oh, here's the funny thing. I didn't even know that I had won, because immediately after I was like, Jamie, I have to get home because, I have this young baby at home. I got to relieve my wife. She's been covering Juan out at this show. And so he called me later that night. He's like, hey, we won. Can you come back? There's another, there's like the winners round or something next week. I was like, no, I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I have a 15-month-old or whatever in the other room. So, how it is when there's a small baby.
Bravo. That is incredible. That is fun. Amazing.
And I will, again, credit improv, in general, with the fact that I would even say yes to such a thing. I didn't say yes because I was like, oh, I'm going to crush this. I said yes because it's like, well, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah.
Okay. Right.
People don't like it. Fine. I'll be okay. I've done plenty of shows people didn't like. That's fine. I'll survive.
I've done plenty of shows that I didn't like myself.
So many shows that, we could have a whole episode of the shows we didn't like.
I know. Jordan, I love your improv journey. And so then tell me, okay, so you're doing improv, you moved to New York, and you started Fish Tree in 2022. So Are you all in on Fish Tree now? That's your full-time job?
I'm all in. That is my full-time job between Fish Tree and the Improv Mindset.
Right.
Business partner. I work with this woman, Sarah Fellman, who lives in Boston. She's fantastic. She is also an improviser and a coach. But yeah, this is it for me for as long as I can do it. I mean, when I left my job, I thought, okay, well, I've worked with a coach. I was partway through my coaching certification program. I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to see, that thing is also not true, I think, where technically a hummingbird is too heavy to fly, but the hummingbird doesn't know that.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Well, yeah, it's either hummingbirds or bumblebees. One of them is supposedly it's too heavy to fly, but since they don't know that, they can just go out and fly. Well, I think because I didn't know what it really meant to run a business, I thought, well, I can do this too. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
So yeah, so I'm so between Fish Tree and the Improv Mindset, yeah, this is how I get to spend my days. It is very, very challenging to run a business. I'm glad I had no idea what was coming, or I might not have done it, but I'm in it now. And I've never felt so fulfilled or aligned with my work, or, oh my gosh, the work I'm doing is what I'm meant to be doing in the world. And that's like improv. That is a powerful, powerful drug. And now I'm hooked. So I want more.
I love that. And so one of the many hats you wear in your business is a public speaking coach. So I'm curious to hear about your public speaking experience. Did you, because it sounds like you were kind of a ham on stage, like you liked being on stage, you liked music and you played music before. So did you always like public speaking, or did you have to learn to love it?
Oh, that's a great question. I always liked being on stage. I liked being the center of attention, and I particularly liked being the center of attention with some remove from the crowd. I've
like always not knowing anyone in the crowd kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I would much rather like if I were singing, doing music or something, doing a show, so much rather perform for 100 people I don't know and I can't even see them because of the stage lights versus, okay, great. Now go into that room of 100 people and start shaking hands and meeting them and networking. And that's where I shrank up and freak out.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that I liked public speaking until it was about 2000, maybe around 2008. My wife and I went to South by Southwest, the tech conference. So she was going for work. I was tagging along. I was curious to see what I would learn there. I was working in tech at the time. And we saw speaker after speaker where the subject matter was really interesting and they clearly had something to say about their topic. And yet we spent the whole time, I was spending each of these things like fidgeting, I'll check my phone, like what they're not holding my attention. They're not speaking in a way that is really commanding the room or connecting with people. And so we came home.
Even at South by Southwest, like they're supposed to have kind of these like Premier League speakers, right?
That's some wild. Some of them are, but then there's also, 4 more days of programming, multiple tracks that get filled up. And so I think everybody was an expert in their field. Not all of them were great speakers because back then, at least, they didn't have you submit a video. You didn't have to have previous speaking experience. It was more about what's the work you do? What's your topic? Are people interested in it? So we came home and pulled a pretty classic improviser thing of saying to each other, well, we could do that too. What's the worst that could happen? So we came home from South by Southwest and we're like, we could probably figure this out. What do we know about? What could we do a topic on? And so the first thing that came up was improv. Okay, let's do an improv thing. I had never heard the phrase applied improvisation at this time. I'm sure it was out there and going on.
I think it was around, but yeah, it wasn't, definitely not as big as it is now.
Yeah, so we'd never heard of it. So again, we thought, oh, are we the first people to say that you can take improv skills and apply them to other areas? We knew that we weren't, but we didn't know that it was a thing, with a name. And we thought, okay, the other thing we really know about is freelancing. At the time we didn't even call it running our own businesses yet. We were just freelancers.
Mm-hmm.
So we submitted a session called Improv Lessons for Freelancers, all about being resilient, adapting to change, communicate with a variety of different people. You're playing many roles, wearing many hats. And we got accepted. And we led essentially an applied improvisation workshop. And we had so much fun that we came home and started planning the next one.
That's awesome. Okay, so that was one of my questions for you because I saw you've been to South by Southwest 5 times, and it is so hard to get picked now. And how have you? Can you give any secrets?
Well,
because panel pickers, this like really obnoxious system, and I've tried twice, and it feels kind of icky. I don't know. Like the voting thing feels icky, and it's only worth 30%. Anyway, any secrets for those who are interested?
Yes, the biggest one is be okay with rejection.
Yes, thank you.
Right. So, yes, I've spoken there 5 times. That's a different number than the number of times I've applied to speak there.
So thank you for saying that, though.
Oh, yeah, of course. So I think
that's helpful.
And the first time we maybe stood out because it wasn't full of applied improv stuff. So when we got voted an audience favorite, which is amazing, by the way, like we were pulled over by that. I think that helped us get in the second time. And then a third, so we did like improv lessons for, what was the second one? It was like improv for change and improv for someone else, improv for everyone. And then we got this lovely note from the director of programming for the festival who was like, hey guys, great run of improv stuff. Can't wait to see what different topic you submit next year. We're like, message received. So didn't get in several times. I eventually got back in on my own, leading a very technical focused workshop. It was all about requirements gathering. I snuck in an improv game or 2.
Nice.
A long dry spell. And then I got to speak. I get to do an improv thing again with my business partner, Sarah, this year. And I think the biggest thing I would say is try to get over the icky feeling of going to all of your friends and social media contacts and family and saying, hey, can you click on this thing, please? Please vote for me.
Can you register for South by Southwest. So you get all the emails. Yes, you can unsubscribe, but will you? Probably not. So you'll get all the SXSW emails for the rest of your life and click vote for me. Thank you.
So that's one thing, is be willing to just ask your people to go through the process and to vote for you. And then the other one is find your spin on a topic, right? So there were 1,000 AI sessions this year, but I think the ones that get in was like, well, here's a unique take on what's going on with AI. Don't be a how-to, be a here's how I see it, if that makes sense.
I love that you said AI, referring to applied improv too.
Well, yeah, right. So the initial title of our session this year was Applied Improvisation, How the Other AI Can Save Your Career. But they rejected it because they were like, people will get confused when you say AI. I'm like, well, we just said what it stood for anyway. So we ended up calling it Playing with Change, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, AI stuff is interesting. And I love that applied improv is also AI because they are so different, right? They're like kind of the opposite.
Oh my gosh,
so I love that they have the same initials, but no one really calls applied improv AI except the super nerdy ones of us. But I love that.
Yeah, so that's my only piece of advice. I don't know the magic, formula to get back in, but it's fun if you do go. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun if you make it. I can imagine. And kudos. It's incredible. 5 times there, and what a journey.
Thank you. And I will say, speaking there made me a better speaker.
How so?
Two paths. One is learning kind of what works and doesn't in a big group of people, right? I mean, that first year, as people started filing into the room, I suddenly felt my fear spike in a way I hadn't probably since my first improv show.
Yeah.
So learning kind of how to navigate that moment and just open your mouth and start doing it anyway. Learning, how to connect with a crowd maybe when they're not seeming into it. How do I talk to a room of 50 versus a room of 200? And, sort of facilitating activities along the way. And then also I ended up going to a ton of other speakers. So I should also say, there's some great speakers at South by Southwest.
Yes.
I learned a ton by watching them as well. Oh, this person's actually walking around the stage, whereas usually I just stand in one place. They're using the space with intention. They're using their voice with intention. They're not just projecting. Sometimes they're getting quiet when they want everyone to lean in. And other times they're really booming to the back walls. So just seeing other ways that people kind of use, their instrument and the space around them, and slides or not slides, taught me a lot about just different things to experiment with on my own to kind of find, well, what works for me? Where do I feel at my best? And how do I use all this stuff to connect with an audience? Because that feeling, there's another high I'm hooked on. That feeling of connecting with an audience. I'm sure you know that feeling. It is.
There's
powerful.
nothing like it.
Nothing. Oh, so good.
And it is the difference between virtual. I love, I can do a lot of virtual sessions and workshops, presentations, but that is the difference between in-person and virtual. You just don't quite get that high feeling after virtual. You get a little bit, but it's not the same.
No, you definitely get something, but it's very different. You don't get the energy that's in the room. When virtual settings, I find I have to bring twice the energy. I can't get any from the audience in the same, even when they're engaged and with me, I can't feel it in the same way.
Right. So another question for you is, how do you use these skills of improv, or do you use these skills of improv when you're coaching your clients? So you have speaking clients, leadership clients. Do you bring a lot of this in, or you kind of weave it in without telling them, or are you just fully like, we're going to do an improv exercise here?
So at first, it didn't take very long for me to start to realize the overlap between coaching skills and improv skills.
Yeah.
Right. I was getting off of coaching calls and just thinking like, oh my God, active listening is happening. Yes, and I have to be able to yes and this person. I'm actually helping them without using these words to yes and their own situation that's going on, because the heart for me of yes and is really naming and accepting what's actually happening, right? That's the yes. And until my clients do that, the ones who were struggling the most were the ones who couldn't do that, who were sort of in opposition only to what's happening and unable to accept it. So at first it was sort of identifying these much deeper kind of, what makes me an improviser is also what is making me a coach. And then with a little more practice. So meeting my business partner, Sarah Fillman, she uses play a lot, I think, in her coaching. And she talked about it. And it gave me the idea to start actually, maybe I could do an improv warm-up with a client before a coaching session. And so I got a little bold. I started trying, one or two of those. We do 7 uses, you name an item, like name all these different uses for something to help them stretch out the brainstorming muscle, which is going to help when you're basically playing new choice with your own life.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually getting more and more explicit about it. And now with the speaking coaching, I play improv games with my clients all the time.
Yes.
I tell them, okay, we're going to do some improv games right now because it's going to make you a stronger speaker. And when you're on stage and something unexpected happens, you will think back to this moment. And they tell me, oh yeah, no, I did think back to this moment. It was harder. What you made me do in our session was harder than what happened in the room.
And something always goes wrong, right? Like something always goes wrong. Even if it's like super minor, like hopefully your tech runs well, the power stays on. If you're doing virtual, like your internet stays on, like hopefully all of that. But there's always something little minor. And it's like, how do you handle it when something goes wrong?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember I was giving a talk. So after I did that first year at South by, I got much bolder at work about sign me up for this conference. I want to speak it for all hands. I want to speak like basically as much as I can. Put me up on stage in front of people because I love it and it's so fun. I was giving a talk one year at a technical conference, and we're in basically it looked like a class. We were in one of the UN buildings, but in this little room up high. I know it sounds very fancy.
Very fancy,
like a spare room that they had. So it was kind of like a classroom setting, and they had these blinds on the windows. And what I didn't know was that the blinds were automated. So the blinds had been drawn because various speakers, we're all showing our slides up at the front. And so I'm on some slide talking about requirements gathering for technical projects and how to be really effective at it. And suddenly the blinds all fly open at the same time. The room is shocked. Everybody looks to the blinds and then they look to me. Oh, what's he going to do? And I'm not saying, this is genius or anything, but because of my improv training, immediately I was like, and as you can see, this will shed light on your requirements, making your project more successful. And that's when I had it. And I think what people don't realize is that you don't have to be born with this ability. You can learn how to respond to the unexpected as a speaker by practicing improv skills.
Bravo line. Bravo. Right. And it's a throwaway. It's like kind of a classic throwaway line, but it needed it. That moment needed it, because if you had just continued on, okay, here are the requirements to this technical project, blah, blah, blah. People were like, oh, hello. Did you not just see the thing that happened?
Or, we all saw this. Are you going to acknowledge this?
Right. Yeah. And I think there's a fine line, because you don't want to be flustered by it. You don't want it to throw you off, but you do need to just quickly acknowledge it. And then you go back and you win over the room again by acknowledging it. And you can definitely train for it, but you're never going to train that exact same moment. But training for it gives you the trust in your skills and your abilities to handle that situation when it comes up. So well said, Dayna. Absolutely. Right. It's trusting that if I do try to make a joke at this moment, it will be okay. Exactly. Right? I can acknowledge this weird thing that happened and still be okay. That is one of the most important things improv teaches you, is how to be okay with the unexpected. Yes. Yeah. And as speakers, in whatever capacity that you're speaking in, there's a lot of preparation that you have to do. And then there's probably, I don't know, I'm just putting a percentage on it now. Probably 80% preparation and then 20% unexpected that you just have to handle, whether it's Q&A at the end or curtains or blinds being drawn, and tech going out, a spelling error, somebody's phone going off. I mean, there's always that chance of unexpected. And it's like, how do you handle that as a speaker?
One of my speaking clients was just giving her first keynote, and she sent me a picture of the room, and she goes, so I get there, and they put the projector exactly in front of where I was planning to stand the whole time.
Perfect. Yep.
Great. Thanks, Dan. So, but yeah, right. You can't prepare for these specific situations. It's like I think it's a quote from Dwight Eisenhower, who said that plans are useless, but planning is essential. To me, that is kind of the heart of what improv gives you, right? Okay, this plan is immediately broken once I see the layout of this room. And okay, I've planned for the unexpected. I know that I will be okay if I just make a different choice and follow through.
Yeah. I love that. Jordan, I want to take the quickest of breaks and then jump more into public speaking and being a more confident speaker and getting rid of these painful, boring presentations because they must go. So let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back talking with Jordan Hirsch all about improv and public speaking. We are totally improvly speaking here. The name of this podcast, I love it. We could talk for 3 more hours about public speaking. We'll try to rein it in to not 3 hours, but let's see. Yeah. And Jordan, I've got some more public speaking questions for you. Okay. So when you reached out to me, you said, I believe, and I'm quoting, I believe that the best speaking comes not from following a framework or emulating someone else, but tuning into your own authentic confidence, feeling your feelings, and doing a lot of mindset work. And I want to break this down a little bit because I love all of that. And tell me, what do you mean by authentic confidence? Because I hear the word authenticity, and I feel like it's such a buzzword right now in the public speaking era, I don't know, that we're in. And tell me your spin on authentic confidence.
Of the question, because that word authenticity does get thrown around a lot right now. So what I mean by authentic confidence is not copying how someone else stands, how someone else uses their voice, someone else's gestures or their frameworks. To me, authentic confidence is when you believe that you deserve to be up there sharing your message. Right? When you believe that you have something of value to share, when you believe that you are the right person to share it. And sometimes authentic confidence looks like saying, hi, everyone, this is my first talk and I'm really scared to be up here. To me, that is a wildly confident move.
Yeah.
Right? It's not opening by saying, oh, I'm so excited to be here when everything about your body language is telling you you're not excited to be here. So it's actually acknowledging and, validating like, yeah, this is hard. This public speaking game, it doesn't come naturally to all of us. It does take work and practice. And authentic confidence is sort of getting up and doing it anyway, to me.
And, I think some people, whoever they are, would argue, that ruins your credibility if you get up and say, hey, it's my first talk and I'm nervous to be here, but it's how you say it, right? And it's the body language that you say it with too. And I love the idea of not being like, fake it till you make it, like power posing and putting on this front that I am this super confident person, because eventually when you get into the talk, like your body goes into like how you feel, right? And so you can't fake the whole talk.
100%. Oh my gosh, I coached a woman who, she sent me a video to look at of her speaking. She's standing there gripping the lectern and her right leg keeps like stepping out a little bit to the side. And finally, what I told her, I was like, well, it's pretty clear you didn't want to be there because your body is literally trying to walk off stage. Your body will betray you. And if you just own it, right? It is a weird moment. It's a vulnerable moment for people to say, I'm nervous to be up here. I'm not saying every speech, should start with that, but I think it's the mismatch between how you're feeling and what you're saying that actually erodes credibility. right? If you're vulnerable enough to say, it's hard for me to be up here, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, 90% of your audience just thought, oh man, that's so real. It would be hard for me to be up there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. Like, your body always shows how you're feeling in it. And, it's training your body and yourself and your mind to be able to handle that, because I hear authenticity and just be yourself and, show up fully as yourself and let everyone love you. And it's like, how? Right? It's fine to say, but we actually have to practice that and train it and feel what it feels like to be ourselves before we can actually do it up on stage.
Yeah. So feeling your feelings, right? The second point in there is a big part of that. And that's something I really like to work with people on. I say like to, I know how hard it is firsthand to feel your feelings. Before I started working with a coach, I think part of why I resisted working with a coach for a long time is that I didn't want to feel my feelings. There were too many of them. They were too big.
Too many feelings, too painful. Just push them down, ignore.
Yeah, so I can go another day without feeling this. I'll feel this tomorrow. But what I find with speaking, I often will say to my speaking clients, you bring all your stuff, all your baggage with you up on that stage. And if anything, it gets heavier once you're up there. So if you have feelings about being the center of attention, or if you have feelings about, oh, I'm not good enough to deliver this message, those feelings are going to come with you in that moment. And your audience is going to see them. You're going to feel them. They're going to get in the way of you actually being able to do the thing you're there to do. So the point is not, don't have feelings, but work through them. Give them some space, some air to breathe, before you get up there, so that you don't have, those bags won't be quite as heavy when you get up to the front of the room.
The idea of feeling your feelings reminded me of a story when I was first working on conquering my fear of public speaking. So I did Toastmasters to help me conquer my fear. I was a very nervous speaker. I did not love the stage. All eyes on me. I hated it. I went to a big college. Like, I chose to go to a big college because I would just be a number. Like, I wanted to be just a number. That's how young, 20-something me wanted to be, is just a number kind of thing. And I've changed, I'm different, but in that time, I really struggled with it. And so I did Toastmasters to help me conquer my fear. And I remember it was my second or third speech I did, and it was a really tough speech. It was on my experience with Hurricane Katrina, and it's very hard topic. There was a lot of emotional baggage in there. But I got the feedback from the evaluator that I was smiling the whole time, but talking about a really sensitive, hard topic. And it was because I didn't know how to hold myself as a speaker. And I wanted everyone to like me, and I wanted to be perfect up on stage. Also, I didn't know what my body was doing either. So it just, I had no awareness. I was just trying to get through it, all the things, right? And so, yeah, that feeling your feelings, I probably wasn't comfortable with standing up on stage and having a frown, or being vulnerable enough to let my body show that it's sad too. And yeah, so feeling your feelings is hard. You have to practice it.
Oh yeah. I still have to practice feeling my feelings. My default, my instinct is still to kind of save them for another day. But especially now that I'm raising a daughter, she has big feelings, and it doesn't work to ignore them or to save them for another day. And that's not what I want to model for her. So I've had to get better at feeling my own feelings. I hate, as a coach, having to do all the things that I help my clients do because it's hard work.
Yeah, you're a coach. You're supposed to be this all-knowing being, right?
Sure. I've got it all figured out.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what I want out of my coach too, is to be human and have those feelings and model how to deal with them too. Yeah. And I think that goes into the mindset work piece, because I know as a speaking coach and as someone who really trained to conquer the fear of public speaking, it is 100% a mindset game. So how do you help your clients with the mindset piece?
The first thing that we typically work on is mindset. Before we get to content, performance, any of that, it's okay, what do you actually believe about this? Right? What are your beliefs about getting up in front of the room? You specifically, do you believe that you deserve to be up there? Do you believe you have something worth sharing? Do you believe that people should listen to you? Do you believe that you're capable of doing this? And if you don't yet, that's okay. But eventually you're going to have to if you're actually going to execute on this. So we talk a lot about where the fear and anxiety for so many people, we try to unpack a bit of, where does it come from? And more importantly, how can we move forward anyway? Even if that fear is still in the bag that you're carrying with you, can we make it a little lighter? Can you practice? And this is again is where improv is so helpful, that let's practice in a low stakes, playful way, doing something that feels high stakes, weird, vulnerable, scary, but really isn't. That's the beauty of improv. It feels like tightrope walking, but it's not. The worst that happens is people don't laugh. And that is, psychically devastating, but you will recover from it. You will definitely recover from it eventually. So using some of those tools.
I know I think we're both going through some baggage right now, not being left.
Actually, did I recover all the way? Maybe not all the way. One day I'll get over that one show, and then that and the other one. But so we talk a lot about, I think, the beliefs people are carrying with them about speaking. Capital S. What does it mean to get up and be seen as the expert? And I think, to your point from earlier, like, a lot of people feel like, well, I have to do it perfectly. Right? I'm not allowed to make a mistake on stage. My credibility is on the line. We talk a lot about high stakes. Right? When you say this speech is really high stakes, well, who are the stakes high for? You, the speaker. Which means, where is your focus? It's on you, the speaker. Which is just you're just the harder you stare right inward when you're trying to be up there communicating with an audience, number one, the worse you're going to make everything feel, because you're now focused on, I don't have the right mindset in this moment. I'm feeling wrong. And two, you're not focused on your audience and what you can give them. So some of the mindset shifts is simply shifting your attention outward. When you can shift from the stakes are so high for me to a place of, what can I give my audience today? Oh, the temperature drops.
Shoulders drop immediately, right?
It in the body, in the face. You go, oh, wait, that's all I have to do? I just have to give them something? I don't have to be perfect? Oh, well, maybe I actually can do. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful shift to see people go through.
The mindset discussion is bringing up a lot. Like I was getting some chills a little bit of just the mindset piece of feeling enough to be on stage and talking about your subject matter. And I struggled for a long, long time with this feeling that the audience was out to judge me, and that they were constantly like on the look out for mistakes. And I think a lot of this is upbringing, which we don't have time to get into. A lot, and some of it is Toastmasters, because they're a little nitpicky. Like, they really want you to be polished, and I was polished for a while, but I was polished with sacrificing myself and my authentic self. So I'm more like not polished now at this point, but I'm more me, and I get the feedback now that I'm real. Like, I was on stage and I was like, people could tell I was being real. Anyway, so doing a lot of that mindset shift work, I had this kind of mantra. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, the world is an accepting place. And you could argue, like, right now, maybe it's not, right, in this political climate. But in general, like, the audience wants to like you. Like, the audience is on your side until they're not, right? Until you've done something to lose engagement. But the audience is on your side. They want you to win because they get something out of it when you give a great presentation, right? They learn, they're informed, they're persuaded, they're motivated, inspired, all the things. And so just doing this mindset reframe of, oh, the audience is with me, not against me.
Yes.
Like, that's huge.
Well, it's so big. Dayna, the audience is investing their two most precious resources in you, their time and their attention. They would like to get a return on that investment. They're actually there to get something out of this. They're not, with maybe rare exceptions, their audience is not sitting there writing down, oh, she didn't smile, so this word, this tiny little mistake here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No one's counting your filler words. No one.
They are Toastmasters.
Yes, Toastmasters they are. And if there's a speaking coach, in the back of the room, I'll admit I can't watch a speech normally, like a normal person anymore. Like I'm always kind of analyzing, but I'm not going to go up afterwards and be like, did you know that this is, here's this thing. We're audience. I had an improv coach once who told us, when you're there, when you're feeling scared on stage, right? You're typically feeling scared. Your audience is there like waiting for you to fall. And he said, when an audience goes to see a tightrope walker, what they're really there to see is someone succeeding at doing a hard thing. They don't want to see them fall. You can see people fall anywhere for free. Seeing someone walk all the way across, ooh, now I got my money's worth.
Right. Yeah. And again, it takes time. You don't just like magically have this epiphany of, oh, the audience is with me. And then boom, you're cured and healed and like the best speaker ever. It's something you have to like really feel and trust and train. And I truly believe, again, we are biased because we coach these things, but it is really hard to do it in a silo on your own. And I can just say from work, like you give presentations or you lead meetings, you rarely get feedback on that. When you're in school, you get graded on the content or did you turn it in on time? Unless it's like a public speaking class, you don't really get graded or you get feedback on your speaking skills. And so you could go your whole life like without much feedback on your speech or your presentation skills. And you're only going off of how you feel, which is good if you're feeling good about it, but there's two ways. Yeah.
And how are you supposed to improve at something that is essentially a performance without ever getting feedback or notes on your performance, right? And it's this skill that we're all expected to have. Okay, you work at a job now, you're going to be giving presentations. Oh, I am? Well, shit, how does that work? Am I going to be good at it? Are you going to teach me what to do? No, you're not. Okay, great. Here we go.
Yep. I remember being asked about that in an interview in one of my early career jobs. And they were like, how are your presentation skills? And I'm like, I'm not the best at it. I'm not the worst. Like, I'll do them. Like, I was up front, like, that I wasn't like the best presenter, but I really hated doing them. And it was at that point where I did one and I was like, ooh, this fear has followed me from college now to work. And if I want to get ahead or even just have my career and not die of a ball of stress, a stressful death from these presentations, I have to get over this fear. And honestly, again, improv is life-changing. Having these public speaking skills have also been life-changing because I'm not afraid to get up now in front of people. I like the spotlight. I also like the impromptu spotlight too. Like, I'm not afraid to raise my hand or ask a question, which sounds so simple. And yet when you are afraid to talk in front of a group of people, even that is hard.
And I've worked with experts, people who are deep, brilliant experts at things I will never understand. And they are afraid to raise their hand. Right? Oh, what if I misspeak? What if they judge me? What if I don't have the fabled executive presence? Whatever that is. Right? What will they think of me? It's paralyzing for people.
It is. And so really having that trust that I can show up as myself, to ask the question, to share, to be real is so powerful. And yet it has to be trained. Like it rarely comes easy for anyone to feel that authenticity piece.
Right. It takes practice. Yeah, it takes practice. It takes support. Sometimes it takes some cheerleading. It takes just doing it and learning. Again, like the bad improv show. Hey, I asked a question. I stumbled over my words and I survived. The whole room didn't turn on me.
Right.
Like, the world kept turning. The sun rose the next day. Maybe I could try it again.
Well, and one of your missions is to help rid the world of boring, painful presentations. Okay, so let's talk about that. And I think one aspect of presentations that is especially boring is reading off of slides, which I was doing some research, stalking your LinkedIn, and you did a song about people reading their slides and like how you could also read it yourself without them reading to you. So that's one piece, right? Reading slides. I mean, how else are you trying to rid the world of boring, painful presentations?
Boring. I love this because so I think I mentioned off mic or maybe, well, here, I'll mention on mic too. So I have ADHD, which means I don't like sitting through boring things. I mean, nobody does, but for me, it can be physically painful to sit through something boring. And so having sat through so many boring presentations in my life has helped kind of create this mission for me. So some other ways to not be boring, one is to actually care about what you're talking about. Now, if this is a work context and you're giving a status update to the team about the project and you really don't care, maybe it's a job you've been in too long and you just don't care anymore. Can you find one thing that you do care about? Even one little nugget. Oh, the team did such a great job this week getting all this work done. I want to give a shout out to so-and-so, right? Even if the rest of it is, okay, and then we did this, and then we did this, that moment will stand out. That's a moment of human connection. Can you laugh about something in your presentation? Not just make a joke. Oh, open with a joke. Well, open with a joke if you can tell a good joke. Don't open with a joke just because someone can open with a joke. But can you find something that makes you laugh about what you're saying? Can you find something that makes you feel an emotion? There's that word again. If you can find an element of your speech or your presentation that you actually feel something about, feel that feeling out loud, and your audience will feel it with you. They will remember that. What I think makes so many otherwise interesting presentations boring is that people are trying to be, I don't know, quote unquote, professional. Like they learned at some point, like you keep your voice modulated. And unfortunately, this impacts women in particular because women in the workplace sometimes get punished for having an emotion out loud, right? Many settings, or for, having a big feeling, or, oh, you're so loud, so shrill. I hate that so much. But when you're up in front of the room, you get a chance to reclaim some of that because you are the speaker. And if you can bring some of that in with intention, people actually start, their ears perk up because it's different than the other 10 things that they've heard that day.
I think from my corporate experience, presenting a lot of numbers and data can be really draining too, especially if you're like regurgitating the numbers without adding some story elements or like what went well or something, because otherwise they're just numbers to people. And it's hard, because especially if you've got like a time limit and you got to get through so much, so you're talking faster and you're rushing. I know one thing that I felt in my corporate space sometimes is, so I did wellness consulting, and like wellness is great. Employee well-being is a really important part of the job. But I was on meetings with like benefits managers, and they were talking about like healthcare and, the claims. And whenever it was time for open enrollment and they had to vote on, do we accept this insurance company's, claim increase or rate increase, and really important stuff, it felt like wellness was kind of the back burner. And so it was easy in my mind, I'd be like, oh, I have to talk fast because they don't really care about this subject matter, right? And so I got to talk as quick as possible, get it done so they can get to the more important stuff. And while some of that is true, right? Like I recognize my place of like, this is what I do. If I bring that energy in, then like, what do they think about wellness as a whole? So like, you have to be passionate about, okay, I get 5 minutes. Like, I'm going to use my 5 minutes to really tell you, like, here's what went well this semester with your programming. Like, we had 30% do the challenge, whatever. And while some of those numbers are like, we had 10%, it's, well, that's more than zero, So I would always put a positive spin on it. And I did have to catch myself, like, you were rushing. Stop, slow down, because they're not going to hear anything if you're just speaking quickly through it. So I would have to coach myself sometimes.
It sounds like you did a really good job on that. And I love that you mentioned story and data, because there will be, especially in a corporate environment, there will be numbers people in the room who will not find you credible without some numbers. And then there will be story people in the room, that would be me, who, as soon as I see a page full of numbers, I'm like, okay, brain, wake me up when we're through this part.
Right. Exactly.
And the story, so, the story brings, it adds so much. So what do these numbers actually mean? Right? Are these good numbers? Are they bad numbers? How do they compare to the last numbers? What do we do about these numbers? You're making me think. I have an exercise I like to do with my clients for when they find themselves, okay, I have to talk really, really fast. I have limited time. I have to talk twice as fast. Or like when I'm nervous, I start talking faster and faster and faster. Have you ever played the improv game Halftime?
Yes, I think so, but please explain.
Sure. So in an improv context, it's two improvisers come up and they do a scene, and maybe they have 60 seconds. Then they're going to do the same scene again in 30 seconds.
Yes.
And then maybe even 15. Right. And the point is not to say all the lines twice as fast. The point is helping you identify what is really the heart of this scene. What are the 3 most important pieces of information? So I will often have my clients do a version of that with their talk, right? You're going to give me a minute of your talk. You're going to give me 60 seconds of this section. Okay, great. Now you're going to do it in 30. Now you're going to do it in 10, and 10 is impossible, but people try. And then we talk about, so what was the one thing that really had to be said? Okay, great. That's your thing. If you show up on the day, and this happens to all of us, especially again in job settings, hey, I'm ready to do my 15-minute presentation. Oh, sorry, the CEO ran long. You have 5 minutes.
All the time.
Oh no, what do I do now? Well, practicing that skill helps you in that moment, right? You feel comfortable knowing, well, okay, I know the main headline point of each of these things. These are the 5 things I'm going to get through.
It's so important. And you're right. Like, it's asked of all job professions, and yet you don't get the training unless you ask for it or seek it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very fortunate to work at a place early on that did bring in, they either brought in or they sent some of us to presentation training, probably because we weren't good at it. And they recognize, but I mean, it's rare for them to recognize the value of it too.
Yes, it's so important. And okay, so Jordan, I got to ask, what are your opinions and thoughts on filler words? Because, Toastmasters is they make you aware. It's not to never say filler words, but they make you aware of filler words. But I think people really harp on that and like, oh, I got to be perfect and say no filler words. There's lots of opinions out there. What are yours?
So as a child of the 80s, I say the word like a lot. I definitely use filler words. I think filler words are actually kind of fine. Filler words, I think, become a problem when you don't know that you're using them, or when you're using them because you don't know what else to do. You find yourself, this is, right? That's the filler words are not the problem. The filler words are a symptom of you're not familiar with your material. Your transitions aren't really working out. If you're getting surprised by your own slide, that's where the uhs and the ums tend to really come to the forefront. When you start counting them, what I've seen happen is it tends to make people actually worse because they get nervous at first. Eventually, it can come back the other way. So what I counsel people to do, typically, if you find yourself using a lot of them, first, we try to look at, okay, what's the underlying cause? And second is experiment with when you reach for the or the like or the just take a breath. Because what the ums and the ahs don't do is they don't oxygenate the brain. They don't give your body that nice, calm, grounding feeling that breathing does. And taking a breath feels weird for people. They're like, oh, it took me 10 whole seconds to breathe. It's like, well, first, it probably didn't take you 10 whole seconds. It's going to feel like it took 10 minutes to you, but to your audience, they don't care. They'll forget. Reach for your water bottle, right? If you're going to do a filler word, just take a sip.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself that little moment to just sort of find your footing again, and then pick back up, because filler words tend to make you feel worse in the moment, because if you are aware that you're doing them, then you get nervous. So, oh no, I'm using the filler words. Things have gone off the rails.
And they're all noticing and counting. Oh no.
Yeah, everyone's writing down every time I say,
oh no, this is terrible. Now, yeah. All the things, right? It's like a super spiral after that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love that spin on it. And I'm very lenient on filler words, because if you use them, but you're super real and confident and like having a good time, I said like right there, like if you're having a good time, no one's going to notice. They're going to be so keyed in on what you're saying and how you're saying it and how you're making them feel. No one's going to notice that filler word, that like in there. And I have to remind myself that too. And I think it's a big deal when it matches your body language that is not feeling so confident.
Absolutely. And I think there's numb right there. As I take a moment and think, what I tend to talk about with people who are, when you're using filler words, when you're not feeling confident, again, it's a lot of inward focus, right? Mm-hmm. Those breaths are a great chance to just turn it back. How's my audience doing right now? What is the next? What's the next thing I really want to give them? And suddenly these things do start to fall away. You're absolutely right. People don't notice when you are actually connecting with them in a real way. And if they do, they're probably thinking, oh yeah, I do that too. How refreshing to see a speaker who's also doing it, because that means maybe I can be a speaker too.
So refreshing. Yeah. And Jordan, you are hosting a session or a workshop called Present Your Ideas with Confidence, and it's coming up in a few weeks. Now, this podcast will come out after that, but I think you offer it a few times throughout the year. So can you share any of those tips, tools, and techniques you're going to use in that workshop?
Oh, great question. Yeah, one of my favorites that I share with people first is a nugget. I like to give people what I call a terrible gift, which is named after an improv game where you give people terrible gifts and then you have to justify why it's great. So the first thing is good news. You will not ever give a perfect presentation.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that gift.
Right. Enjoy. You're welcome. Exactly. I think it's really refreshing for people to hear, because people are thinking, oh, I have to do an absolutely perfect job at this. So the first thing is just to know you will never do a perfect job at this. No one will ever do a perfect job at this. Let's put that down, and then we can focus on some other things that you actually can do. Maybe the thing that people hate the most, some advice that I give, is to go out. Here's another terrible gift. Record yourself just giving 5 minutes of a presentation.
So hard to sit down and do that.
Well, recording is the easy part. The hard part is go watch it. Yes. But here's the hardest part. Write down everything you're doing right. And only the things you're doing right. What you're doing is starting to retrain the brain, because when we criticize ourselves so harshly in those moments, we are keeping very active this neural pathway between I do public speaking in some form, I feel like shit. Sorry, can we curse again?
Please. Okay. Yep. If it's authentic to you, please do.
If the only thing you can come up with is like, I pronounced all of my words correctly, great. That is a good thing. Tell yourself that. You begin to forge a new pathway, a new association in the brain, and it takes practice. If you have critiques, then the other thing I offer people is write down a list of things you want to experiment with. Right? So it's not, I talk too fast, I sound like an idiot. It's, I want to experiment with speaking a little more slowly next time and see how that feels. It's simple. It's easy to say. Many people don't do it. as homework. I find the people who do, it just opens up a huge shift for them in terms of how they feel about doing this, right? Oh, I'm not perfect, and that's okay. I am doing plenty of things right. And instead of a big list of failures and faults, I just have a few things that maybe I want to try next time. And that takes so much pressure off for people.
That's very yes and focused, of accepting the reality of, here I am as a speaker and I would like to experiment. I'm curious. I'm open to working on this, rather than beating yourself up, putting yourself down, and you're like cringing at watching yourself, because I've been there. We've all been there, right? That's a very yes and approach to speaking. I love that.
I hadn't even thought of it that way. So thank you for reflecting that back to me. It makes me think of, I saw a social media post a couple of years ago that said, hey, if beating yourself up about things worked, it would have worked by now. Oh,
it would have pushed and forced you to do the thing.
Right? Yeah, we'd all be amazing by now if this actually had any sort of benefit. But since it doesn't, maybe we can try something different. See if that works.
Yeah. Well, and Jordan, I asked this question of every guest on, and it's, the yes and mindset, which is also a growth mindset. And I mean, we kind of talked about it. It kind of embodied this whole episode, but how do you specifically embody a yes and mindset in your life?
Well, I will say, as a parent, as someone who's running a business, I get plenty of experience with the unexpected or the unwanted or the, oh no, this is happening sort of coming at me. And so I get a lot of practice. The way I try to embody it when I'm at my best is accepting that it's happening, and then naming, first of all, let me name how I feel about this thing. Oh, this made me feel really scared. This made me feel really frustrated. As soon as I name it, again, that temperature goes down. It takes some power away from the feeling. And there's neurology at work here, right? You're actually shifting, I believe you're shifting blood in the brain from I think it's the amygdala is that first, that's like that's the fight or flight area, right? So you shift it from there to I believe it's the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible
all sounds good to me.
For language. And so as you shift to the front of the brain, oh, okay, the amygdala loosens its grip a little bit. It gets you out of that fight or flight moment. And then you can decide, well, what do I want to do about this next? So I wasn't expecting to go into brain science with that answer, but that is how I try to embody yes and, is like really accepting and naming what's true before I at my best, before I then respond to it.
Can't do it at my best.
Yeah, at my best. I'm not gonna say I get there, every time. So I absolutely have times where I'm just shouting obscenities at the screen when an email comes in. But once I've moved past that, I can try this yes and approach. And I'll tell you, the yes and approach is the one that gives me better results.
Yeah, accepting and then realizing you have a choice too in how you respond. And not to say that that's toxic positivity of just, and everything's great and it'll be fine, right? Like you're accepting the situation as it is, the feeling, labeling the feeling that came up, and then you have a choice in how you respond too, which a lot of times we forget that we have the choice, or we just jump to shouting obscenities, or it's the computer's fault. It's definitely the technology's fault. It's not my fault. It's the technology's fault, for sure.
Fault. It's the kid's fault. It's the person who never wrote me back. It's their fault. Or we shift immediately to like, well, maybe it's my fault. It's my fault. If I posted harder on LinkedIn, I'd be doing better. If I don't know.
If I worked more hours, right? If I didn't eat,
If I sat staring at my screen in despair for one more hour, maybe that would turn things around.
So maybe there's a fine line in the middle somewhere where the brain, where the fault lies. Yeah. I love that. And I was going to ask you about parenting too, because your daughter is a teenager, right?
Yeah, she's 13. She is in her second round of a weekly improv class. So it's absolutely running in the family. We're inculcating her, bringing her into the cult.
What is that? Inculcating? That's a word?
Inculcating? I think it's the right word. Indoctrinating maybe is the word I meant to say, but I had cult on the brain. Either way.
No, if it is a word that I thought you said incultating, like cult incultating.
No, I love that. That should be the new word. We are incultating.
That should be the new word. Welcome to the cult. It is a really good cult. It's like a healthy cult, if that could be an oxymoron. Yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah, dealing with another person's big emotions and feelings and, unexpected choices is a lovely lesson in yes and, because I think I spent the first few years of parenting in more of a no, but do it my way kind of stance. Didn't get me anywhere, made everyone miserable, made my daughter miserable, made me miserable, made my wife miserable. So I had to learn, wait a minute, what if I can actually accept that someone else is feeling this way, someone I love and care about, right? And then maybe we can move forward together. And I know it feels kind of obvious now. Well, yeah, accept that other people have their feelings and they don't always agree with you. But as a parent, that could be really hard, because you begin in this phase of, well, I do everything for this person. I control their every waking moment. And pretty soon you don't. And that's a hard shift.
It's very quick that you don't. I'm learning, like, exactly. 15 months later, you don't control much.
Oh, you could walking around yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's walking, she's running is the default move of choice now, and pushing her little baby stroller into everything, and tantrums. What did she throw a tantrum at the other day? Everything.
Yeah, it's like, what do you got?
Yeah, it's so hard. And then, like, I think at least in my world, I'm like, it's gonna get better. Like, the more independent she gets, it'll get better, because I don't have to watch her as hard. But then there's a whole slew of other things that come up when they become independent. So it's not even that it gets better, it gets different, right? And you have to handle that new different person that is now, like, upset. They used to be upset over, like, a toy, and now they're upset about, like, school or something else,
relationships or state of the world, whatever. Oh yeah, I remember asking a very good friend of mine years ago. Our daughter was just 2 or 3, and I think he already had teenagers. And I said, "So it gets easier, right?" And he goes, "Well, it gets different."
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that eases your mind. It gets different. Yeah, and it's spot on, because even when she's grown, there's still going to be a part of me that wants to control the choices. And no, right? You got your chance when you were raising her to now make these choices, right?
Yeah, well said. And I think, just like you will hear, the terrible gift, you'll never give a perfect presentation. You'll never be a perfect parent, and you don't have to be.
Thank you for that gift. Yes. I'm going to accept that right now. Thank you. I'm going to open that slowly and just really revel in that terrible gift. That is so helpful. Thank you. Yeah. Well said, and we all need to hear it, because there is no perfect parent out there.
Or if they are, they've probably written a book and they're making millions on it right now.
Yeah. And they've done a good job convincing everyone except maybe their own children.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. 100%. I'd love to read the tell-all that those kids write years later.
Right. Jordan, obviously we could keep going and talk 3 more hours about public speaking and put on a masterclass. And I know you do that, for your clients. So I'm excited to see, how your November session goes, and, more to come on that. Where and how can our listeners follow you on this journey that you're on for Fish Tree?
Well, thank you for asking. LinkedIn is probably the best place to find me. I'm Jordan Hirsch on LinkedIn. Look for me. You can find Fish Tree on there. A few years ago, like 2016, I think I got off of Facebook. And then a couple years ago, I got off of Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky now, but no one's really on Blue Sky. And that's I do more reading there than I do posting. But LinkedIn is where I go and I talk about my work. And it's led to some amazing connections. I discovered you through the beauty of the LinkedIn algorithm, which is awesome. I've made some good friends and partnerships and found clients on there. So it's a place where I like to hang out and talk about this kind of stuff. And sometimes I'll instead talk about, I made cookies today and I didn't feel like working. So Sometimes you get to see the cookies on there too. But if you want to know more about Fishtree, you can go to fishtree.co. I couldn't afford the M for .com, so it's .co.
Times are tough. This economy's rough. Every letter counts. I love that. And yes, we did meet through the beauty of the LinkedIn algorithm. And I think I follow Sarah, your business partner, as well, too. And we've never met, but I've liked many of her posts too, because she's posting like nuggets of gold too on the improv mindset. Yeah. So both you and her are doing like fantastic work and just posting about just improv and being human, like all the things too.
The journey. We're all on a journey.
Well, and it's so easy in the LinkedIn world. You know, the algorithm shows you what you're putting out there and what you want to see. And so it can be so easy to be like, there's so many people doing this applied improv thing. And yes, there are a lot of us that apply on South by Southwest. So you do have to put a different spin on it. But there's enough business to go around too. And it can feel saturated, but I think the more collaboration we do, and that's what I love about the Applied Improv Network, is like the better you do, the better Applied Improv does. Yeah. Right?
Dayna, it was a huge discovery for me early on building a coaching business to learn that other coaches are not my competition. They're my support group. They're my network. Exactly. They're my peers, my colleagues. Like there's plenty of people who need coaching, and there's a coach for everyone. And the more we support each other, the better everyone does. So that's about this kind of work.
Yeah, same. Because I feel like many professions are not brought up to value collaboration internally and externally too.
No, I don't think you hear a lot of lawyers saying anything like what I just said.
Right. Exactly. And I get it. Times are tough. Each letter costs money, right? Things cost money. Yeah, I get it. And also how different the world could be if we valued collaboration over competition.
Oh my God. What a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. Thank you. I'm going to take that gift.
Right. Here's my terrible gift for you. Jordan, so many gifts being shared in this episode. I loved every minute of it. And I'm so grateful you reached out. You know, you hit that follow button and you like stuff, but it's always so nice to chat. And this has been so great. I can't wait till our paths cross in an improv festival, maybe a musical improv festival. Dream big. Our paths will cross, and I can't wait. That'll be so awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see your session at South by Southwest. Very excited for that to happen for you. I love that. I want to will that into being for you. And Dayna, thank you so much for having me on the show. I've heard episodes. I know that you're good at this, but getting to experience you as just such a generous host. Oh, such a joy. Highlight of my day, of my week. So thank you for this.
Oh, thank you. I will accept that compliment. Thank you so much. Jordan, we'll talk soon. Thanks so much again.
Take care, Dayna. Bye.
And thank you for listening to today's episode with Jordan Hirsch. Oh my gosh, so much fun. I love this work of getting to talk to new people and meet them and hear their story. It's just podcasting and interviewing is so much fun. It's so much fun. It really lights me up and feels aligned. And I so enjoyed this conversation today with Jordan. And I love, like he said, with LinkedIn, I think people have opinions on social media. And I know for a long time, like I was on LinkedIn, but I never did anything with it. And LinkedIn is a lot more fun the more that you post and interact with it. And you can really make some fun and quality connections on social media in general, but LinkedIn specifically for business and work. And it's like everything else in life, you get out of it what you put into it. And it can be hard, it can be weird to post at first. And I know that there are a lot of creators and usually the people who are posting are in that creator space, but not all the time. And, the more that you engage, the more fun it is. And I'm so glad. So Jordan reached out to me and said he was listening to one of the musical improv episodes that I put out, and it was just so resonating and lighting him up and reminding him of all the musical improv shows that he did. And so he reached out and he was like, hey, I do similar things, public speaking coach, and have this improv journey, would love to come on. And what really sold me on it was that Jordan shared 3 fun facts about him. And I did mention those fun facts throughout the episode, that he did that solo prov musical improv show. I guess it's not solo prov if you have an accompanist, but he was up there himself playing all those character roles, which is incredible. Oh my God, so incredible. And then he also shared his philosophy on public speaking, and his also, I think, best fun fact of all was that he's great at making cookies and German chocolate cake. So that's the way to go if you're trying to pitch yourself for podcasts or anything else. I get so many, I feel like they're AI created, just like run-of-the-mill pitches, or someone else is pitching for them. And I get that that's a thing, but it does not feel very authentic. And when Jordan reached out, it felt very authentically him. And it was so nice to hear. So I'm so glad that he reached out and pitched the idea of coming on as a guest. And I'm so glad we did this. So I mentioned that all to say that if there's something that you've been meaning to do or someone you've been meaning to reach out to, reach out, say hello, give some fun facts, make it a uniquely you email, which for me, a uniquely Dayna email usually means that it's long and kind of a book long email. That is my default. I usually write maybe too much, maybe they don't read it all, but that's me. I'm long-winded, if you can't tell by the length of these podcast episodes. I am long-winded, even in email form. Go figure, right? I loved everything that Jordan said about public speaking, all the tips and things we were talking about. I know I'm biased because I do this work too, but he says it in a different way than I do. And I don't know, there was a lot that was resonating with me. There were some memories being brought up too, some things I haven't thought about in a while. And I really, really appreciate the mindset piece of this work, because mindset is everything. And if you do not believe that you are worthy enough to stand up on stage, or you are enough to be up on stage, you're credible enough, good enough, smart enough, all the enoughs. If you are not enough on stage, it's going to come out in some way, shape, or form, what in your body language and the way that you talk and the way that you present. It is going to show that you don't have that belief, and you can fake it to the best of your ability, and that might serve you for so long, but at some point it's not going to get you where you want to be. And so mindset is everything. And you hear all these things, change your mindset, reframe this, or shift this. And I'm all about a mantra. I love a good mantra that kind of reminds me of, my belief and what I need to do. But it's not just saying it. You have to embody it and you have to feel it. And I said it in the episode, I truly did not believe that the audience was on my side for a very long time. It took so long. And I hope that it does not take you that long to trust and be one with the audience, instead of it's you versus them. It's you and them. And so I hope that it doesn't take you as long as it took me. I also hope that you don't feel judged in everything that you do, because again, this is upbringing, there's another episode. There's another time and place for that kind of talk, but I did always feel judged in everything I did, and that was including as a speaker, and that was coming forth. There was something between me and the audience, and it was me being worried about everything that I said or did or how I looked, kind of thing. So I hope you don't have that. I really, truly hope that you're like, I don't resonate with that. But if you do, please reach out. Let me know if anything came up in this episode. Please reach out to Jordan too. Follow him on LinkedIn. I did want to mention we were chatting after we hit the stop record button, and Jordan mentioned that he forgot to mention one other thing that he does. I will put it in the show notes so it's there. But him and his business partner, Sarah Philman, who they run Improv Mindset together every last Tuesday of the month from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. They offer like a fun 1 hour kind of play session. Everyone's invited. I believe it's free. And it's on their website. You can join or get reminded about it. And I think I'm going to join a few just if I have the time, if it's open on my calendar. One, to support them. And two, like, I want to play right now. We were talking about this too. If I have an opening on my calendar, I want to do what I would like to be doing at this point, and that's play and, being creative and just having that space to kind of reignite more creativity and innovation and openness. So if I have a friend, an applied improv friend who's doing something, like, I'm going to join it and support them and collaborate and also just have fun. We are recording this in November 2025. I think when this episode comes out, it will be early 2026. But I say that all to say that it is a very busy time. It's the holiday season, it's craziness, and I want to take a break from the craziness and just play and kind of have a clear mind that's not riddled with to-dos and tasks. And, when that hour is over, I will go back to my to-do list and tasks. But for an hour, I just want to have fun. I can't do a ton of improv classes right now. And that was kind of my outlet to play and have fun. And so I can create and join and find other outlets for that. And I hope you can too. As I mentioned, this episode will probably be coming out in early 2026 when resolutions are high and we have all these goals for the new year. And maybe you've done away with resolutions. Maybe you still make them. Maybe you have a mantra for the year. But I want to call attention to what Jordan mentioned in this episode, the mindset piece again. Do you believe that you are enough to be on stage? And that can go for my improvisers listening. Do you believe that you are enough to be on the improv stage, performing for your friends and for the audience and with your teammates? Do you believe that you're enough to have a scene with your scene partner and just play and discover together? Do you believe that you're enough to just go in and be open to exploring? For all those in any kind of performance outlet, whether it's public speaking, communications, if you're in corporate and you're having to do a lot of presentations, you're on stage and in some kind of like outlet, you're quote unquote on stage a lot. Are you enough? Do you believe that you are enough in your position? That mindset piece goes such a long way. And I'm sighing because there have been many times, many years in my life that I did not believe I was enough. In my corporate work that I did, I always felt like I wasn't doing enough for my clients, or even before my last job, like I wasn't doing enough. I needed to do more, and I would push past my boundaries. I would say yes to everything. even if it wasn't a yes and, it's like, oh, I'll do it. I'll be a part of this committee. I'll do all the things. I'll put a smile on my face and show up. And that's hard. It's really hard when you don't have that belief in yourself. And of course, as a speaker, if you don't have that belief in yourself, how can the audience believe in you too? Mindset is everything. And so as you're listening to this, whether it's early 2026, later in 2026, whenever, I hope that you can confidently say to that question, yes, I truly believe that I am worthy, that I'm enough to be on stage, to be doing the work that I'm doing, and it is lighting me up and aligning with my soul and my mind and everything I am. And if you cannot confidently say that, there's your reflection piece. There's your room for introspection. There's your chance to say, okay, there's some resistance there. Why? And what can you do about it? Coaching's a great option, but there are plenty of other things you can do as well, and you will find the right outlet for you. The first step is to be aware of it. Aware of what the issue is, or aware of what's coming up for you. And then what can you do to help take care of it? Jordan mentioned many times the feeling your feelings, and it's so easy to be like, I'll deal with that tomorrow. I'll deal with those feelings tomorrow. I am so guilty of it too. But we better serve ourselves and those around us when we feel our feelings now and find a way to take the steps and actions needed to help with those feelings. So let us know. Reach out to Jordan. Reach out to me if anything came up in this episode. I loved every minute of it. I love every opportunity to nerd out about public speaking and improv. And I think talking with other public speaking coaches always reminds me the importance of this work and how necessary it is, because I was the same way. I didn't get any training. I had to go searching for it. And there is a right training for you if you need it in public speaking or any kind of performance space. Like, there's the right training for you. You just might have to look for it. So I encourage you to find the training that works for you. Reach out to Jordan if anything resonated with you. You can also reach out to me. You can email me at Dayna, that's Dayna, at Improvly, that's Improv, Ly, speaking.com. You can also reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Improvly Speaking. On LinkedIn, I'm at Dayna Gowan, and my website is improvryspeaking.com. I always love hearing from you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope your 2026 and beyond is super successful, and I hope you just go for and achieve all your dreams and goals this year, in whatever year you're listening to this. Thank you so much for listening and supporting Improvly Speaking. I will remind you every time to say yes and go out and flex your creative thinking. I'll talk to you next time.